In this video, I will show you how to use TikTok Events API with server-side Google Tag Manager. The process is quite similar to the Facebook Conversions API, but there are also some differences. Let's take a look. When it comes to using TikTok Events API, you have mainly two options how to send data with server-side Google Tag Manager. You can either have TikTok tags only in the server container, so your flow would look like this. You have a website, then website Google Tag Manager container, then, for example, Google Analytics tag. It will be like a vehicle that will transport your events to your server. And then inside the server container, we will have TikTok tags that send data directly to TikTok. So this is the first option. The second option, which TikTok recommends, is that you still keep this kind of setup, but also you have TikTok Pixel implemented in the web container as well. So basically you will have two ways how the data is sent from your website to TikTok. One will be with server-side container, the other one will be with the client-side pixel. And then if you properly send those events, they will be deduplicated by TikTok Conversions API. In fact, if you look at this setup, it looks fairly similar to LinkedIn Conversions API or Facebook Conversions API, where basically the vendor asks you to send data from client-side pixel, but also with server-side container as a backup. But if you care about page speed performance, then you should probably not use the pixel in the browser container and instead just have the TikTok Conversions API tags in the server container. So they will not be loaded in the website, therefore they will not make your website load slower. So first, let's take a look at the first option, which is without the client-side TikTok pixel. Also, did you know that 85% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed? If you want to stay up to date with Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics, and if you want to get this kind of videos first, then subscribe to my channel. Here I have a demo website. On this website, I have installed a website Google Tag Manager container. The container is pretty simple. Here I have the Google Analytics tag that sends data to my server container. And then I also have a purchase event, which will fire when a user completes a purchase. And this tag will also send the e-commerce data. Then when the data is sent to my server, in that server I have a Google Analytics tag, which will forward data to Google Analytics. So nothing related to TikTok Pixel yet. But this kind of setup is necessary for you to proceed with the video. If you don't know how to configure this, for example, how to add a custom domain to your server-side container setup, then I will post a link to another tutorial below the video where I explain and give you the fundamentals of server-side tagging. So go watch that first and then come back here. But if you already know what all of this means, then feel free to continue watching this video. In the server container, let's go to templates. Then in tag templates, click search gallery and then look for TikTok. I will be using Stapes template because they are really well done and they work really well with the incoming GA4 data. So if you have been working with, for example, Facebook Conversions API template by Stape, this will work very similarly. So let's use that and then add to workspace and add. By the way, this server container is also hosted on Stape. One of the main reasons is that I like their custom loader, which reduces the impact of browser extensions. So if you are running server-side tagging, you're working a lot with various conversion APIs, then this is pretty much required. So once the template is imported, then go to tags, click new tag configuration, then select the TikTok Events API. And then first we will create a page view event, which means that every time Google Analytics sends the page view event to your server, for example, here I have in the preview mode the page view event, then on that event, this tag will fire. Then we need to add the access token and TikTok Pixel ID. You can get that by going to ads.tiktok.com, then go to the Events Manager. And what I have here is a fresh new account, so I have to configure the data source as well. Also, I have selected the advertiser account right here. So let's click Connect Data Source, then select Web. Next, then I will enter the URL of the website. In my case, this is that website, and then click Next. Then I will select the manual setup and Next. If you plan to use just the Events API without the pixel, then technically you could select this, but I will use this because in the video I will show you both options. So then click next. Then let's name the pixel. So let's say GTM playground and click create. This is the TikTok pixel. So for now, I will skip it and I will click next. Then let's click next again. I will skip the event builder. Then I will skip the pixel testing for now. Click next. Let's skip this as well. And now I have reached the events API step. So now I will generate the access token, copy that token and paste it right here. Then the TikTok pixel ID can be received right here. So I will copy that, paste it. Then what's useful if you plan to use just the TikTok tags in the server container is that you should click this checkbox because it will create a particular cookie that will be later used for the attribution. So you can definitely keep this enabled. Then for now, let's just keep this as it is. And then in the triggering, I will create a trigger that I want this tag to fire only on page view events and only if the Google Analytics 4 client claims it. Technically, you don't even have to use Google Analytics tag. If you're using, for example, Stapes data tag and data client, you could do that as well. But in this tutorial, I am using Google Analytics. So I will click this plus right here, trigger configuration, then custom, some events, and then event name equals page view exactly like this. By the way, if you don't see the event name variable, then click choose built-in variable and select it there. Then let's add another condition. So client name equals GA4 because that's the name of the client in my container. And then I will call this page view GA4, for example, and click save. Then let's name this tag TikTok page view and click save. Then we will track the purchase because in my web container, I have a GA4 purchase event. And then when that event is sent to the server, it will be visible right here. So in the server container, I will make a copy of the page view tag. I can do that by clicking three dots right here, copy. Then let's name this purchase. Then I will change the name of the event right here. Then access token remains the same. Pixel ID remains the same. And then in the trigger, we will remove the page view trigger, and then we will create a new trigger for the page view event. So I will make a copy of this. I can click this icon, then make a copy, call this purchase, then add purchase right here, click save, and select this trigger. So this trigger will automatically take the purchase data that was sent by the website Google Tag Manager container with this particular tag, because TikTok Events API tag is programmed to recognize the data structure of the Google Analytics e-commerce. Therefore, it will automatically pick that stuff. Now let's click save. Oh, and one more thing that I forgot is that if we want to test this in real time, we can use the Event Manager Test Events feature. So that will be available if I click next in this wizard and then go to test events. So here, if I want to test the incoming events from my server-side container, those events must contain the test ID right here. I will copy this and then I will add it to my purchase tag. So there is a dedicated test event code field right here. Click save. Even though you can add the test event code in the page view tag, this event is actually not directly supported by TikTok. So it will not be visible in the test events section. But this tag is still very important because if it fires on a page view, it will create this TikTok cookie in the visitor's browser. So this is still needed, but if you want to preview the incoming events, then include that test code in all other events except page view. I mean, you can add it, but it will make no difference, at least right now. So once this is added, then click preview to refresh the server container's preview mode. Then I will go to my test website, make a purchase. My purchase tag fires right here in the web container. Then that purchase event should appear in the preview mode, but it didn't. Let me refresh the preview mode, see if that helps. And then I will make another purchase again. So I just refreshed the confirmation page. And then in the preview mode of the server container, I have that incoming purchase event. I can click on the TikTok tag, see the outgoing request. And here you will notice that I am sending not only things like event name, which is right here, but also some e-commerce data, like what was the product that was purchased. And if I go to the Events Manager's Test Events section, here I see the purchase and the data that was sent together with that event. So that's pretty much it. And if you want to track more events with Events API, and those events that are supported are listed right here, you would do the same principle. First, you would need to track that event and send it from your web Google Tag Manager container with the GA4 tag. And then in the server container, this tag will pick that event and then it will send it further. Also, one more thing to mention is that after you made sure that your tags are working fine, you see them in the test events section, then don't forget to remove the test event code and then save. Because if you keep sending real events with the test ID, they will not be included in your tracking setup. It says that even right here. By the way, did you know that I have a bunch of free ebooks on Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics? So if you want to better learn these topics, then click the link below the video, download those ebooks, and get started. So the option 1 is done. But if you want to also implement the client-side TikTok pixel in the web Google Tag Manager container, then follow these steps. In the web container, we are going to use the official TikTok pixel tag template. So that can be found in the templates section of the web container. Then click search gallery in the tag templates section and look for TikTok. Here you can select the official tag template, click add to workspace, add, and then we can go to tags and try to create a new tag with this particular template. But what you will notice here is that we don't have the page view event anywhere. So instead of that event, we are going to use a custom HTML tag that will install the base TikTok pixel code. You can find that by going to the Events Manager. Let me close this wizard. Then go to Data Sources, select your pixel, then go to Settings. Then scroll down and look for something that mentions install base code. Click view instructions, copy this entire code, go to the web container, and let's create a new tag of type custom HTML and then paste that code right here. And then let's fire this on initialization all pages, for example. And then we can call this, let's say, TikTok base code, and then click save. Then we are tracking purchases with the server-side container. So we will need to track the purchase with the web Google Tag Manager container as well. To do that, let's create a new tag where the tag configuration and tag template is TikTok pixel. Then here we will have to enter the pixel ID that could be found in the TikTok Events Manager. So it could be found, I think, right here. Yeah, so we have pixel ID, copy it, paste it here, then complete payment, and then we will overwrite the parameters. So this tag template is coded to reuse the old version of Google Analytics e-commerce data. GA4 is not supported, therefore I will disable it, and instead I will include the product data and the purchase data myself. So what can be done here is that we can use multiple contents, and then we will need to add a particular variable which contains custom code, and that variable will handle this. So in fact, for now, maybe let's close this, and we will create that variable which outputs the correct product data in the format that TikTok Pixel supports. So below this video, you will find another tutorial where I show how to reuse GA4 e-commerce data with TikTok Pixel. Here you will find a code, and we will use that code very soon. First of all, let's go to the preview mode of the website container where I have the purchase. And this is the data that I have. And we need to create a variable for this e-commerce object right here. Let's go to Google Tag Manager, and I mean web container, then variables. Then I will create a new variable, which is data layer variable. In this case, its version should be 1, and I will just enter e-commerce. So this variable will return this entire object right here. And this will be needed later for our custom code. So now I will just name this DLV e-commerce v1 and click save. Then let's create another variable, which is custom JavaScript. And this time I will copy the code from the blog post and paste it right here. Instead of this, I will need to insert the variable that I just created for the e-commerce v1. And then we can call this variable, let's say CGS TikTok products from GA4 or something like that. Click save. Then let's go back to tags and click new tag configuration, TikTok pixel, then paste that pixel ID. So I will copy it here and paste it right here. Then complete payment, then parameter override, disable this, multiple contents, and then here I will insert the custom JavaScript variable. Then we have to include order total, which is value. In my case, that value is available right here. So e-commerce.value. Let's create a data layer variable for that. So click plus here, then data layer variable and e-commerce.value. Then I will name this variable and click save. This variable will be inserted in this field. Then the currency. You can either take it from the data layer if you have it. For example, I have it right here. But if your online store or your online business operates just in one currency, then you can just simply type it like this. Then let's look at other parameters and we can skip them. Soon we will come back to this event ID, but for now, let's keep it empty. And then in triggering, I will use the same purchase trigger that I use for the Google Analytics purchase tag. So let's name this TikTok purchase and click save. Let's test if this is working. So I will click preview in my web Google Tag Manager container. Then I will go to the website, make a purchase. And then in the events manager, I see a purchase event. I don't see the website data because I forgot one more thing. So I will click clear all activities. Then here I will enter the URL of my Sandbox website. Then click open website. And now I have realized that I was supposed to publish Facebook Pixel already because on this particular tab, my Facebook Pixel is not activated. It is activated only on the preview mode. So quickly I will click submit to publish this. Once this is published, then I will reload the page that has the TikTok test ID in the URL. And now if I go to the test events section, I will see that I have purchase from the browser and I have purchase from the server. But right now, the challenge that we have is that we are not sending an event ID, and I mean the same event ID with both events. So TikTok will not necessarily understand that these two purchases are coming from the same user. It might think that these are two different conversions. So to avoid that, we will need to add an event ID both in the web TikTok pixel and in the server-side setup. So let's start with the website container. Here we should go to templates, then in variable templates, click search gallery, and then look for a variable called event ID. And we are going to use this template created by Stape. Let's add it to workspace. And then once you do that, I would recommend reloading the page so that we would be able to use that template in the variable section because sometimes bugs happen and that template is not visible. So let's go to variables. Then in the user-defined variables section, click new, variable configuration, select that template and then call this, let's say, event ID. Then let's go to tags, open the purchase tag, and then here in the parameter override, include that variable in the event ID field like this, and then click save. So what's important here is that when we are going to send this event to TikTok, we will also be sending another purchase to our server-side container. So in this tag, we also have to include an event ID parameter like this. So insert that variable here and then click save. Another important thing is that if you have two events, one is for the server-side setup, one is for the client-side setup, they both must fire on the same trigger. This is a critical condition for the event ID to be the same across both events. So let's see what happens now. I will click preview in the web container. Once the preview mode has connected, I will go to the website, make the purchase, or maybe, you know what, first I will clear the server container and then I will make a purchase. So the purchase event should appear right here. Here it is. And if I go to the test events section, I will see again, one purchase from browser, one from server. So if I click on the browser event, I will see the event ID, which is this one. And then if I go to the server event, I will also see the same event, because if you send an event ID like I did right here in the tag, I have the parameter event ID written exactly like this. Then the TikTok Events API tag will pick that event ID and will send it further to TikTok. Because if I click the purchase event here, click on the tag, go to the outgoing request, here we will see that event ID was picked and also a bunch of different information was included. Oh, and if you want to send some additional user data with events, for example, user email, here's how you can do that. When the purchase happens on my page, I have a user email parameter right here. So first let's include it in the web pixel, and then we will also do that in the server-side setup. So I will need to create a user email data layer variable. Let's go to Web Google Tag Manager container, click variables. Then in the user defined variables, click new, variable configuration, and then data layer variable. Here I will enter user email, and then I will name this variable like that and click save. This variable should be included in the TikTok pixel tag. So let's go to purchase. And then here, edit the tag, parameter override, and then we want to include the email. The email that we have is in plain text. Therefore, we will switch to plain parameters. And then here we will need to select that email variable like this. Click save. So what will happen is that when this tag fires, it will hash that email address and make it non-readable for humans. Then we also need to send the user email to our server-side setup. To do that, we will need to include it in the purchase GA4 event tag. Click here, then edit the tag and enter the parameter, which is called user_data. Here, you will need to insert a variable, and we are going to create a new variable that is designed specifically for the user data. And to do that, we should click plus, then variable configuration, and then scroll down to user provided data. Here in the email field, insert that data layer variable. So basically it's a variable within the variable. Then let's name this variable. Let's say user provided data and click save. Now let's save this tag and then click preview in the web container and let's see what happens. Now I will go to the website, complete a purchase. And then if I go to the test events section, I will see the purchase from the browser. And here we have the hashed email. And also we received the event from the server. And we also have hashed email. Now, the reason why this happens is because Stapes tag template, it takes the email address from the user data. So I can click here on the purchase, go to event data. And here I will see user data and then email. So if you're using this particular format where we have user data and then inside we have the email, then Stapes tag template will take that email address, will hash it, and will send it to TikTok API. And we can see that email hashed right here. So if we go to the test events section, we will see that this value in the server event is the same as the value in the website event. So when you finish testing everything and you made sure that this is working, then don't forget to remove if you have the test event code, and then hit submit and publish your changes in the server container and also publish your changes in the web container. And that is how you can configure TikTok Events API with Google Tag Manager. If you found this video useful, hit the like button. That will help me understand what videos do you like and what should I create in the future. Also, if you want to learn more about Google Tag Manager or GA4, then subscribe to this channel. My name is Julius. This is Analytics Mania, and I'll see you in the next video.